I totally agree. Um, so I'm continuing to lose weight. I lost over 100 pounds. I don't know, 306, 185. Yeah. So my mom has a construction company. And in 2019, I actually stopped doing public relations for the city and went on to help her with her project in Colorado. We're working for the Air Force. And probably before I left, I was around 280 pounds. Like 265, probably about I don't know, too much. About 280. I like to stress the numbers a little higher before I went because the number was so high once I came back. I went over there and, it's real stressful running these federal projects. You have to talk with the Air Force. I had to do all the engineering paperwork on it. So doing that and going through all the stress of the project, we did it in about 3 months. In 3 months, I had gained so much weight. I must have ate everything over there in Colorado. Ate everything over there. So I came back and I was around 306 pounds. My goodness. Heaviest I've ever been my whole life. I've always been big, but heaviest I've ever been. I came back and I said, damn, I got to make a change. I said, I got to focus on this. This is too much. This is too much. And all my life, I've been kind of putting it off a little bit. And so I came back and said, all right, what can I eat? What can I change in my diet? What are the first steps that I can take? And this goes to health is wealth, right? You want to live a long and healthy life. Just like I tell all my clients, I want you to live long and healthy and enjoy yourself. It's important. It's what you want to do too. So a lot of people for that's really important for them. So I came back and I remember the first step I took was I started, instead of using that fancy creamer that everybody puts in their coffee, kind of it's super sugary, it's white, and I forget what it's called, but they put it in their coffee and it tastes like a candy bar or something. It's got so much sugar in it. So I switched that and I cut the sugar out and I just started using just half and half. Regular organic half and half is, decent for you. It's got some fat in it, but it was good. And then later, I watched this one video that changed my life. Was seeking out information, was looking about fasting, and 16-hour intermittent fasting, real popular nowadays. But I was seeking out information on that, and I came across this TED Talk. I forget the name of the gentleman. I got to look it up. But he was telling a story that he asked his kid, and his kid said a couple words that stuck with me. So he was telling this story about his kid. He was like, hey, how do you lose weight? And he's talking to his son about it. And the son's like, hey, stop eating. He says, just eat less. And it was so simple. It was so simple, but yet so profound to me at the time. And he started talking about fasting. And he talked about this one guy who, he's probably around 450 pounds. He fasted for an entire year. Didn't eat a thing. Drank a lot of liquids, a lot of water, teas, all that good stuff, but did not eat anything. And he lost so much weight. And he was talking about how fasting is healthy. Maybe not these extreme circumstances for most people, but I decided to do it. And significantly reduce all of my calorie intake. So I started getting into fasting the whole time, would drink matcha tea, and whenever I get into something, I get into it and I just jump right into the max. If I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna dedicate my life to it. That's just how I am. So would wake up, I'm actually fasting now, by the way. I haven't eaten anything all day. Only drank black coffee today, and tea, of course, and water. So yeah, started doing that, was 306 pounds, was losing so much weight, was reducing my calorie intake probably by around 2,000 calories per day deficit, which is an extreme amount, which nobody said you should do. And the doctor said, Frank, you got to do it slower. And I said, no, I'm tired of being big. I'm tired of being unhealthy. I'm making this change, and I want it to happen sooner rather than later. So it took me about a year. reduced my calorie intake to around 300 to 500 calories per day for months. Wouldn't drink any alcohol, fasted, ate one meal a day. Some days I would just eat a protein shake all day. And what I noticed is that my stomach shrunk so much that sometimes I just didn't want to eat. And I'm still losing weight. I'm actually 185 today.
Wow.
So I'm continuing to lose weight. I lost over 100 pounds. I don't know, 306, 185. Yeah. I stopped keeping track. I always tell people, but I love it. I feel a lot better and was doing walks back then and working out. And you just feel much better. The suit's gotten smaller. I used to have, oh geez, I forget what my chest size was back then. It's too big though for me. I still have this tuxedo I wore to my brother's wedding. Oh my goodness, it's huge. It's just like this big on me now. I can't even fit into it. I cannot wear it anymore. But yeah, so health is wealth. I think it's really important, and that's why I make healthy dishes now. Pretty much the only food I eat, I try to be very strict on it. Sometimes I do gotta let loose a little bit and not be so strict just because I'm getting more to my ideal weight. I still want to lose some more. So it's important to have fun, but I would make it a game. I would say, we're not gonna eat no sugar. No, we don't eat that anymore. And what I noticed is that when you cut out the sugar, especially the sugar, you don't crave it anymore. So at first, when you're constantly craving sugar, there's certain things in your gut, and of course I'm not a medical doctor, so I would consult your medical doctor 100%. But the information that I gathered is that there's a certain gut biome you have, and when you're eating sugar, you're constantly feeding these bacteria who crave sugar. So the more you eat, the more you grow what they call bad bacteria. I don't know if I want to call it bad or good, but this bacteria who craves the sugar and tells you, hey, you got to eat that piece of cake or the ice cream or so on and so forth. But the more you cut out sugar, the more you actually find enjoyment with bitters, salt. I don't put salt on anything anymore, except for tacos. You got to put salt on the tacos with lime. So yeah, I really cut the sugar intake, and I don't crave it anymore. I don't really like sugar. And if anything I'm oversensitive to anything sweet. For example, if I eat a candy bar, my stomach hurts. Obviously, Eli, you don't like to talk for hours.
Yes,
You gotta cut me off.
Right.